get started today. We are going to use what we've learned the last 2 days about changing fractions to decimals and decimals to fractions. And we're going to take those numbers and we're going to plot them on number lines today. So, how can we actually locate fractions and decimals if they're on the same number line, even though they don't look anything alike? Well, that's our question of the day. So if this girl draws 3 cards, and there they are, each one either has a fraction or a decimal on it. What she has to do is she has to plot these 3 cards on a number line. And the number line has 10 segments on it, 10 equal spots. We have to figure out where each of those cards go in the right order, from least to greatest. So, what do you notice first about these 3 cards? Are they all the same? No. We need them to be the same. So we could either change these 2 and make them fractions, or we could change this one and make it a decimal. What sounds like the better way? Okay, simply because there's only one of these, right? So let's make this 3/20 into a decimal. 3/20. Well, I don't know what that is, and I can't use a calculator today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 3/20. Could I change that to either tenths or hundredths? Sure. Which one? Well, if I change it to tens, then I have to make this divided by something, and that's not going to work. So I think we're going to have to go with the hundreds. 20 times what? 5. What I do to the bottom, I do to the top. How do I write that as a decimal? Cole? 0.15. There you go. So now I have 0.15, I have 0.9, and I have 0.617. Oh boy. Well, I'm going to write these off to the side. Can you see them? Well, earlier in the year, we learned that we can't compare decimals like this because they don't have the same amount of places. So what we could do is we could add some magic zeros. Do you remember magic zeros? Here we'd have to add 1. Here we'd have to add 2. Now can you tell which one is the lowest of the 3, Dathan? Okay, so this is our lowest, and then? Okay, and then? Okay, great. So it's going to be really easy to put this third one on the number line, right? Because 0.900 is the same thing as 0.9. We can count all those 10 equal spots until we get to the 9th spot. 0.9 is the same as 9/10, or 90/100. So if you don't want to count these by ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you could count them by tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and so on. So now we have to move this fraction, our 3/20. Well, we changed our 3/20 and we made it into a fraction, 15/100. So we could put that way down at the end, which is if I took off a 0, it would be a little more than 1. So between 10 and 20. Probably right in between here, right? Once we change that, we can move it all the way down and stick it on the number line. There it is. And finally, 0.6, well, a little bit more than 0.6. We have 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6 right here. It's going to be a little bit more than that, just a tad. There's our numbers right there. So we're going to try to do some of these things together today. The most important thing to remember is that if you have some of each, you have to change them so that they all are either fractions or they're all decimals. Let's take a look at these. What would you like to change them to? All fractions or all decimals? Will? All decimals. Okay, so that means we can't use this one. We have to change it to a decimal. It would be what? 0.8. Now, could we easily plot those on a number line? From least to greatest. Tell me what they are. Kiara, least to greatest. 0.2, 0.7, 0.8. Good work. How about this one? Cole? Let's make them into fractions, okay? Well, we have two fractions already, so let's change this guy into a fraction. What would he be? 1/10. Okay, so we have 1/10, 6/10, and then 18/20. Well, what that means is we need to get this guy to have the same denominator as these two. So how did I get from 20 to 10? Darius? Do the same thing to the top, and I have. Now can you tell which is the smallest to the largest? Brendan, what's the smallest? Say it again. 6/10 is the smallest of those three. We have 9/10, 1/10, and 6/10. Which one is the smallest? 1/10 is the smallest. Then 6/10, and finally 9/10. Good work. This one's a tough one. I don't know why they threw this one in here because this is a toughie. What do you think? Should we change them all to decimals or all to fractions, Sky? All to decimals. These two are already decimals. Let's change this guy. How would I write him as a decimal? Because it says it's a 10th. So we know that it's got to be in this first spot. Can I squeeze an 11 into there? No, 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 no. What do you think? I don't know if that's going to help, but maybe. Okay, so we could do 11 divided by 10, like that. Okay, how many 10s are in 11? 1. How do I write that as a fraction? No, as a fraction, as a mixed number. 1 and 1/10. Can I write that as a decimal? How? 1.1. Now, can I put these in order? Well, let's be careful here. We know right away which one's the largest, don't we? Which one is the largest? 1.1's our largest. Yep, this is the biggest. But now we have these two. Why can't I compare those two? Dathan? This is in the hundredths, and this one is in the thousandths. So I need to put in a magic 0 here because I bet that if you guys looked at these two fractions, you would think that 0.65 is smaller. Is it? This is number 2, and this is number 3. Tricky. Okay, so the next problems that we're about to do are problems that are out of our book. And because we only have the smartboard and it's so tiny, I really want you guys to open up your book today to page 245 so that you can see what we're doing. Quickly, 245. We're still going to do these together. Okay. Here goes. If you look at the number line at the top of the paper, there are two whole numbers. We have 0 to 1 and 1 to 2. Darius, do you want to put that away? Thank you. So we need to count how many equal places there are between the whole numbers. So it's too hard for you to see from where you're sitting. So if you look in your book and you use your finger, don't count the 0. Count how many equal spots. Dathan says there are 10 of them. Do you all agree? All right. So point A is not exactly on one of them. It's halfway between. So this first spot right there would be point 1. The next spot would be point 2. Then we have point 3. Then point 4, point 5, point 6, point 7, point 8, point 9. Where is point A located? Oh. If it's halfway between, what do you think it is? Alan? Yes, it's right between the 2 and the 3. So that means it's 0.25. Good work. How about letter B? Cole. You're so close, except you forgot the whole number. 1.3. See, this is between the 1 and the 2, so it means it's a little bit more than 1. How about point C, Sarah? 1.8. That means 1 and 8/10. Good. How about D? Aaron? 1 and 9/10 or 1.9. Now what if I would have tried to squeeze a spot between the C and the D? What decimal would that be? Caden? 1.85. Sarah, right here. Very good. All right, now let's look down at these. I don't expect you to write anything out. I'll do the writing. You just have to tell me what to do. I have 3 numbers, and we have to put them in order from least to greatest. What do you think we should do with those 3? Dathan? Turn them all into decimals. I think that's a great idea. So we're going to change 2 over 5 into a decimal. Well, 2 over 5, I don't know how to write that as a decimal, and I'm not allowed to use a calculator today. So I'm going to change this into tenths, because I do know how to write tenths as a decimal. How'd they get from 5 to 10? Okay, so do you know how to write that as a decimal? How? 0.4. So we have 0.4, we have 0.35, and 0.7. Why can't we compare those? All right, why can't we compare these fractions, Dathan? That's right. This one has 2 spots and the others don't. If I looked at this, I would automatically think that 0.4 is my smallest, and in fact, it's not. Dathan and Aiden, Darius and Aiden, can you guys keep your eyes up here, please? Can you put these in order for me? Sam, smallest? Next. Good. Nice job. Okay, we're moving on to the next one. Again, we're doing these all together today. So, what do you think we need to do in problem number 12? Will? You think so? We can, but then we have to do 2 of them. If we change this one, we only have to change 1. So, do you know what 0.15 is as a fraction? You do, because over hundredths. It's the second spot, so it ends. Great, we're good, right? So now we have 7/20ths, 15/100ths, and 12/25ths. They're all fractions, but we can't compare them because they all have different denominators. Can you think of a denominator that would work for all of them? 100. That's right. So let's change